C-Doc again.
History's not his story. I was waiting for the beat to drop. What's up, y'all? Trying this new background music feature here. So hopefully it sounds okay. I'm just kind of messing around with it. Anyway, it's C-Doc again. It's not Tuesday, it's Thursday. And this was a surprise last minute idea because yesterday was the 10th anniversary of this. The Public Enemy album, Most of My Heroes Still Don't Appear on No Stamp. And I just figured, you know what? Let's talk about it. Why not? I didn't realize it'd been 10 years. Kind of stuck up on me. It's 10 years. Kind of crazy. And I was trying to remember back to when we worked on that record. We actually worked on 2 albums at once. We affectionately call them the twins. Most of My Heroes and The Evil Empire of Everything. So, yeah. But this one came out 10 years ago yesterday. I think Empire came out sometime in October. And I'm going to bring on my co-host this evening, because maybe he can confirm that for me. Flatline from Hip Hop Gods.
Yo,
what's happening?
what's going on?
You remember when this came out? I know
Empire. I do not.
I think it was October.
October sounds right to me.
Yeah, I mean, internet, I could look it up, so.
Yeah, the internet.
Yes, the intranet. I hear it's on computers now.
No kidding. Huh.
Yeah, so I've heard. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Representing DJ Lord today.
Word up.
Yeah.
I pulled out the old school Greatest Misses shirt.
Wow.
Because it was the only one I could find.
That's
in a
great.
page. Yeah.
I had a Most of My Heroes Still Don't Appear on No Stamp t-shirt at one point, but it's gone now.
Oh, what happened to it?
It just, worn out. Gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was supposed to get one of those. I was told I was going to get one of those, but that was back in the day when I was always told I was going to get shirts and never got any. So I missed the boat. Oh, well. It's all
Imagine
good.
that. We're speaking in code right now. Where is everybody else? Is no one else here?
Jennifer's in the chat. Jen, you want to come on the show? She doesn't even know. Well, I asked. I mean, this was a last minute thing, so we didn't even know we were going to do it. I'm gonna send Jenny a link so she can come on, so she doesn't feel left out if she wants to.
Yeah.
Where's
So Chuckified? Where's he at?
He was having dinner when I reached out, so it's all good. Cool. He said thank you for the invite, and I know M-Rock is still working on his album, so I didn't want to bother him.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we're just do the damn thing.
Sure.
We're gonna bring on our other guest this evening. The guy that masterminded these 2 albums, Mr. Chuck D.
I don't even know if I masterminded those 2 albums. It's almost like a black hole in my head on like what has happened the last 20 years. And this, I mean, we're 22 years into this century, man. And it's just like, I don't know, people, when they tell you the older you get, time really flies. It's like 10 years, really?
It's crazy. I didn't even realize when the anniversary came up for Heroes, I didn't even realize it was 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, snap.
And this is why Flatline has to change the criteria of the Hip Hop Gods. When we first started, it was like 15 years was the criteria.
Right.
Now we just got to move it up to 20. You got 25 years in. Now you're a hip hop god.
You got to.
Because after 15 years, you're going back to what, 2007? And the cat that started in 2007, man, is like, we're not going to give you a hip hop god. We might move it to 40 and 50 in a minute.
You got to. You got to, man.
Because it's a whole different thing, man.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be the person that is discouraging the Millennium School or the recent school or the current school, but it's totally a different thing, man. I pick up XXL. XXL is a magazine that really seriously wants to worry about who's the freshman. And I for the life of me, I'm trying to figure out like what's the criteria? Where do these cats come from? Are they just kind of anointing them based on the followers they have in their region, their social media? And I get that, man. If they're trying to figure out how to further boost somebody who got a little burn in a region, but XXL be playing them up like yo, you slept on this cats. These cats is coming up out of Indianapolis, and they the next one. And I'm like, okay, like in sports, you say, yo, man, this is the high school team that this player played on. Then they went to college. You know what I'm saying? Then they went to the pros. So I'm trying to figure out where's the Big Bang Theory on somebody locally. It's like, okay, does it carry over into the next state? Is it social media that's catching fire and attention, and somebody is really being it? Because usually it's like if you go on social media, you just checking out what's coming back on your shores. You're not really getting intrinsic into like finding out like, is that the cat? Is it's easy to get somebody who's shaking the banister on attention, like, oh yeah, there's fear in this cat, but I'm lost in some of the new criteria.
Yeah,
but I get how you got to make somebody something. Like XXL has 15 years of freshman of the year, and then somebody kind of said, yeah, well, these are the artists that are signed by the majors, so it's kind of easy for them to go into the majors or all the up, the next, the ones they just signed, and try to give some kind of like foreshadowing on the, on the next level, coming out, or what's their first projects are going to be. So I kind of get that if that's the case. And once you start looking at who they picked in their freshman season, and then all of a sudden they came out with their first album, maybe like, or maybe mixtape, or maybe single soundtrack, because the majors are going to get it figured out. They're going to be like, you know what? We're going to sign these artists, but give them, internet web deals, or we're going to do 360 deals. So it behooves like maybe the hundreds that are signed, then XXL will go into that. They're not picking somebody out of a region independently who just been doing it. And they might just like, okay, pick somebody who might have got some burn saying some crazy shit. But I mean, so anyway, this is why we do Hip Hop Gods, because we know that this is might be an artist with a following, and their following is trying to find an artist who's trying to find their following.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
To me, that's something that makes the genre kind of refreshing for me.
Yeah. And we're happy to play those newer artists that feature classic artists on their songs.
Yes.
Like that's a great way to come together and work together and shine a spotlight on the new artist while being like, hey, look at what the classic artist is doing with this new person.
Yeah, did you get the King's Son that I just recently sent you? So I think we're going to go on that on the show tomorrow.
Yeah.
King's Son just released, brand new song, brand new single. I think that's something that in the beginning of the Hip Hop Gods project, it's like with all somebody say, oh, old school, OGs and all that, there was never this like, maybe the question might have popped up like, yo, so what you doing now?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But usually there was never maybe an answer, or maybe somebody wouldn't ask further. They were like, you're not really interested, in Dana Dane's brand new song, are you? And then we say, well, here's Dana Dane's brand new song, and he's sounding better than ever.
Right.
And then it's interesting to see if they hanging on and really was they interested or wasn't they. So
Right.
I think that's the threshold that feels good that we're trying to always break. And for years, Public Enemy had led the gamut in telling people like, man, you don't stop for anything. You don't stop because somebody is out there is automatically going to get your product or not going to get your product or whatever. You don't do it for that. You do it because this is who you are and this is what you do. And just do your thing and they will come. Now, I don't know if that satisfies the machine, but I mean, and no big pun intended. I was actually looking for some new Raised Against the Machine, but we didn't get that.
Nope.
No, we didn't.
Get some shows.
We tried to push the button on that too, me and Be Real and Lord.
Yeah.
Saying like, okay, Raised Against the Machine, if you guys are going to reunite, especially after the last 3 years of issues and causes and all that, you guys are going to reunite, make a new record.
Yeah. It's not like they didn't have time.
I know, right? Well, you're talking to a producer, right? I'm talking to a producer right there that there is no excuse not to.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
No excuse not to.
Exactly.
So in 2012, we felt that it was an important time to signify what happened at that particular time. Gary G. Wiz and I had been cleared to be aggregators at Apple. And we had tried for 2 years to be aggregators, but to no avail. And then in 2011, we got the clearance. So Gary had an aggregation system that actually went straight into Apple, which allowed us to release digital albums under our imprint through the Apple iTunes system. So we wanted to take advantage of it, and that's where the whole aspect of not just Most of My Heroes don't appear on the stamp, but we wanted to show that we can kind of even double dose, and the Evil Empire of Everything was the other album that came out later on that year. So it wasn't like we recorded 2 albums worth of material to release as one and we shaved records off, but I think the intention was like we could show that we could release 2 albums in a year, which I mean, over the last 20 years, people have been doing that like no big deal.
Yep.
I would say the difference in Public Enemy is that, we dig into diverse topics. And a lot of times I think that a lot of times when people do double albums, them topics be running into each other like a mug. It's like, if they don't run into each other from the same album, they run into another artist copying or covering the same topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not like different. It's like, I think I could copy. I think I could cover this topic better than you, and so that's where the battle lies. I think Public Enemy, we wanted to be able to pick a topic that nobody else would pick, like truth decay.
Right.
Brush up on your facts. Which is done by the great Sam Sever,
Yep.
who I name checked on Autobiography of Mr. Chuck, kind of looking for him.
Right.
But Sam Sever was the first person I suggested to Ice Cube to do America's Most Wanted. And Cube kind of like politely said, nah, I really want you guys. And I kept throwing them names. But Sam Sever was the first person I came up with to actually go to Ice Cube. And that never happened. But I made sure that, okay, it never happened. So I'm going to name check Sam Sever on Generation Wrecked in 96 with the Mr. Chuck Soul album.
Yeah, shout out to Sam Sever.
Yeah,
And,
so I was happy that we got around to working with Sam on this album.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Jennifer O'Jenny.
Yeah. All right.
What is really going on?
Hey, Jenny, was you born when that album came out?
Yes, actually, I'm a lot older than I appear.
It's a surprise show, Jen. Surprise show.
Right? Hey, surprise!
Surprise, we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Objects
it
in
was
your mirror are a lot closer than they seem. Is that what it's supposed to say?
yes, exactly. It was dope. I got to meet Sam because
Right.
I did an interview. I have video footage of an interview with Sam talking about working on the record somewhere. I have to dig that out.
Please
So,
dig that up.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Although we were shooting out on the west side, the lower west side, nearby where he was living, and right as we were about to do the interview, we were out on this pier, and I had a lav mic for him, and it fell down through the crack of the pier, and I lost it. I was like, oh shit. So yeah, man. And so it was like the camera mic, the audio might be trash. I have no idea. If I can find it, I'll let you know. So yeah. But anyway, well, I wanted to talk about the dual album idea because that was something you had wanted to do for a while, but traditional retail was, telling you, no, you can't do that. Because I remember when we started New World Order and How You Sell Soul, they were supposed to kind of do a similar thing.
Right.
And then, but we were still dealing with traditional retail at the time, and they were like, nah, one artist has to release, can't release 2 albums within a certain time period.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's the same thing that they were really, drilling Prince with all the time, and we end up, with those same, things that Prince was going through, and we knew that, okay, forget all that, but we're gonna still be able to release with Spit Digital on the aggregation tip. So we knew that was going to happen, and we said, well, we'll see if we can manufacture on the back end. But then again, a lot of this, Doc, you're bringing memory to my memories, because a lot of those wars that were going on, I mean, they exited my head because they were stupid, effing frustrating, bro. Really
I
frustrating.
Yeah.
Really
remember.
frustrating.
Yep.
Matter of fact, the processing of albums, I'm just here to tell people. I said, like, C-Dot comes into the fold, and you really reinvigorated my interest into the processing of going about albums and putting as much into them as I always did. But they putting together a Public Enemy album takes a lot out of you, because you're not making like a adolescent rap record. You're not making a rap record that's going to be like a whole bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds going to just play it next to their Hennessy. Ain't none of that. I mean, Public Enemy record is almost like Ice-T once said, time capsule music. Like, you make it, and then 100 years later, it starts speaking about what was around that time. He said time capsule music. So I mean, Ice-T does also the same. So I always looked at saying, well, if we're going to come up with 2 albums in 1 year, how much can I space these topics? I mean, I get it. Cats are recording left and right. We've been doing And You Don't Stop 13 years in a row. Thanks to the mighty effort of Flatline, Tim Michaels giving songs. And I think a lot of times when we get the older artists, the hip hop gods artists, I'd be shocked and amazed because they dug into a topic that, like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And a lot of young guys, they got bars, but a lot of their bars are kind of like, run in circles. It's like, okay, now then once you get the pressure on the bars, now it's gonna be, well, is this bar better than that person's bar? And it's all about a flow. But the topic, man, it's like, yeah, you got to spread the topics, man, because the topic's going to tell you how many cuts you're going to do.
Yeah.
And it's going to be simply a case of, and it's not also based on whether somebody wants to hear it. It's based on what you want to say. And I tell people all the time, it's like, if you got something to say, you need not to say it twice.
Yep.
Why? Why say it twice? Even if you said it before, it's like, I mean, when we did the Fight the Power 2000, understand that the thing that made that different was the scenario. The world was different. The with the situation, the pandemic,
Yeah.
and then a lot of artists and situations came to the table to make that. Questlove to Nas, to Rhapsody, the situation at stake. But basically, I told him in the beginning, I'm like, there's no need for me to do the third Fight the Power. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then but the situation and the conditions call for it.
Yeah.
So that's different. Like, but I think a lot of times, like if you said something once, why say it again? Now, I could kind of get it, like if you want to say it 20 years later, and you want to cover something you said 20 years ago, 20 years, up to the current. But you should never, to me, you should never be like, okay, I'm saying this so I want you to hear me. I've never been in a situation I'm caring about whether somebody is equipped and ready to hear me. I'm gonna say it, and if you can't catch it, you missing that cab, you missing that bus. Then it's just gonna be gone. Now, other people might feel different. Like, I mean, that makes like the music maker, the producer, the other MC that's on it. They might have, and everybody might have a different, take on to wanting to be heard. But I mean, that's, to me, I think that's where I hang the hat of a little bit of arrogance of saying I said it, no need to say it again, which means Flatline and also Doc and Jenny. And I told Doc about this yesterday.
Don't believe the hype demo.
Yo, the don't believe the hype demo.
Oh my God.
When I couldn't believe it. I was listening to it yesterday, and I'm gonna send it out to Doc to digitize. And of course, it's my handwriting on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. Wow.
Well, matter of fact, me and Hank at one particular time had similar handwriting. I think this is Hank's handwriting. It's Hank Shockey's handwriting.
Wow.
That's his handwriting. Right?
Wow.
Mine is down here. I think it says beat is dope.
Okay.
I made sure I did it yesterday, and I forgot I put Scotch tape on the top of this years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like a Scotch masking tape.
Yeah.
And so when I played it, I was like, oh shit, let me puncture the top of this.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I wanna erase it.
Shit.
So yeah, no. So I mean, yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
This is really crazy. So it's no need to make shit twice. Even though I believe that there's more hype believers than ever right now.
There were 9/7 too.
I know, right? And that's actually a song title.
Yeah.
But there's no need to make another "Don't Believe the Hype" to me, and I don't think so.
Nah, it's still there. You can go back to that one.
Yeah, exactly. Am I a fan for remixes and remakes and stuff like that? We were. Right, Doc. We were at one time. I think that could get to a point where it gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So when it got to Most of My Heroes on the Piano Stamp, the title comes off of Fight the Power, of course, and I don't think that was a lazy title, but I thought it was a theme that we plug some things up. But I thought that I remember listening to the album after it was finished and sequenced, done by Gary G. Wiz, arranged with all the other musicians and contributors to it, sequenced by C-Doc. And I remember moving some equipment from California to Atlanta. So I had that whole trip to evaluate.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I had that whole trip to listen to the sequence. And matter of fact, on that trip, my dad met me in Dallas, and he drove the rest of the way. But all the way up to that point, listened to the album in a U-Haul from LA to Dallas. And I said, yeah, Sequence is tight.
Now you had kind of earmarked what songs were going to go on what album, right? Is that right?
I don't know if I did. Maybe I did.
I think so. I mean, sometimes you give very specific. I want to preface this by saying you give me a lot of leeway when you tell me to sequence the record, but sometimes you'll give me an occasional like, okay, this song has to go first, this song has to go last, and then you figure out the rest. You know, that happens a lot.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
Yeah,
I think it was like also the last era of me really trying to. I mean, I mean, in the beginnings, I think I was worried about like what sound, how many, how this sound would go against that sound. I mean, I tell people all the time, "Fear of a Black Planet" burnt my brain out.
Right,
So,
right.
But I was around, and musically, everybody had a sense of what they thought Public Enemy's sound was. And I just think that individually, as one person, you can only get some of that. You're never going to get the argument that made the original PE tracks, because there's a lot of conflict in original PE. The first three albums, Yo Bum Rush, Takes a Nation, and Fear of a Black Planet. There's a lot of conflict in it because you got music theory versus DJ theory versus MCing versus back. I mean, a lot of that is going on. So,
right.
And it's put together by like a bomb squad of different people. Even when you had like 5 or 6 hands on the mix, and at the end of the day, Hank's duty was to make it all concise in the mix, especially. And that's major. Yeah. Mix and mastering is major on PE because it's the difference between coming up with something that's right and something that's just a puddle of mud. And and you already know that, Doc. It's like one bad move with something that has a bunch of things happening in it, you could end up with a puddle of mud. So kudos to Hank for being able to be the final ears at the gate. And then Gary came along, and that pretty much was a combination of Bomb Squad at first, sort of like he's coming in as a producer. At the end of the day, the mix is still going to be made and heard by another ear. And then in the 90s, we moved further and further into the area of the one-man producer, which 98% of the hip-hop industry became for the next 25 years. But it is what it is. But you still have processes that will kind of like hijack your whole method. And that's when you get into the mix. Is it cool? Does a producer, or I should say a music maker, have the ability to produce this song and then finish it off with the proper mix and then finish it off with the proper mastering? And I think that job, I don't know, became easier because of technology. But I'm telling you that one man couldn't have done it back in the late 80s, early 90s. So by the time we get to 2012, I think the thing that made me step back a little bit from it is like, wow, here's what everybody thinks of what PE should be from a one-man production standpoint. But it's still going to get kind of like bomb squatted together in its sequencing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, if you take a record with many producers, the problem was not so much the many producers, but the sequencing. They really didn't marry each other. Right. And a lot of times a song didn't marry each other because if an artist that's not really dependent on a diverse topic, then why would the song marry? That means the only thing that's going to marry the song into each other is the lyric or the music, not the topic. Right. In Public Enemy, it's like the topic could line up with the topic, regardless of the lyric and regardless of the music. So That's a different way of looking at a record. You're making records like rock bands would make records back in the day.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Well, sequencing was always important for me because poor sequencing can just ruin a record. I don't care how good the songs are.
no, poor sequencing will eject your record.
Yeah.
We knew that poor sequencing on something that we presenting as noise, poor sequencing will have your tape or CD ejected out of it. It will be ejected.
Yep.
And we could not afford, because once you eject something, you're not really coming back to it. Yep. So we had to be our own radio station, and until the fact that we had records that were on the radio that people could feel that, okay, we could take this little piece of noise called Public Enemy and put it in there and fuck up our whole rotation of all these other songs that don't sound nothing like it. Public Enemy songs never fit with anybody's songs.
Yeah.
And that was our thing. Yeah, I mean, we made ugly records. We made ugly records. We wanted ugly results. We wasn't kissing nobody's ass. It wasn't kissing up to nobody.
Oh.
No.
So we like, man, this is what it is, and this is what it ain't. And if you don't like it, you can move the hell on. And then that was still the attitude all the way up to 2012 and 2016, 2017. Most of my heroes don't appear on no stamp. It's like, you got a problem with this, that, or whatever, it's tough, you don't have to dig us.
Yeah.
And that's so different from any rap acts. Rap acts are like,
tell me about it.
Like black music. It's like, you want to be acknowledged, you want to be respected, you want to be loved, you want people to be like, give you an ovation too. And we was a bunch of contrarian weirdos. We was like, well, fuck it. I don't care. We're going to still tear it up, rock the house, and do it the way we want. And, that was the original theme.
Yeah.
Had to beat them out with effort, like Pete Rose. I always consider myself like Pete Rose. It's like Pete Rose came in, I think 5'11", and had no more skill than anybody else on that baseball field, and he was Charlie Hustle, way before the E40 nickname.
I can remember, you talk about the PE sound that everybody seems to talk about. That I think when you got, I don't know how to explain it in a radio type of way, but
it's
like the first time
it
I
get
ever
you fired.
heard.
It's the type of stuff. It should have get you fired. Chuck Chillout got fired for playing PE, and they kept bringing him back, and he kept playing PE, and he kept getting fired from Kiss FM.
I can remember going back to when Orange Juice Jones played it for me. And I went back to the radio station and said, I've never heard anything like this in my life.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't know who these people are. I know there's some very angry young black men, but we got to play this immediately. Because you guys, it's like the PE sound is the PE sound. You guys made it. And it didn't matter what came out next. It still sounded like you guys because it was you, and because it was the topic and whatever. But this was coming back from a time when everybody sounded like Curtis Blow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he was the one to follow. And then Run DMC, they were the ones to follow too. And of course, Mo D and, and then Houdini and understood. All those artists, Doug Fretz, Slick Rick, those artists were fantastic. And we knew that those artists would just totally thrill the younger audiences, meaning high schoolers, people like that at the particular time, and all those people we had to play concerts with. But when we were 10 years older than that. So it wasn't about us appealing high schoolers in anything. We thought that's that we don't want to be involved with appealing to any high schoolers. We have already done that when we was doing WBAU, a college radio station, and we had understood for a period of time what students and high schoolers liked and the particular 80s, and we knew that for us to do something, we had to be totally different and not try and don't try to fool yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to come in and thinking you're going to make records and think that you're going to be, you know, high school throbs or some cats that want to feel like they on the street corner, you know, ganging up and stuff like that. We had to come along and said, nope, this is who we are. Something that y'all don't probably know about. Yep, we're older. Yep, we know this. Yep, we love hip hop. Yep, we do it this particular way. Yep, we bringing it like this. Yep, we driving. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, we got kids. We paying bills. Yep, we grown folk. We for real. But we hip hop, and we where hip hop is going to go anyway. And we've been like that ever since. I mean, come on now. Ever since we started, we've been 10 years ahead. So ourselves and Ice-T, you know, when they start asking questions about rappers in their 40s, every decade, we already break it and we look at people for the next 10 to 15 years that come in that same category that gets popular all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Like we broke the 40s. Like, oh man, rappers in their 30s, and here we break in the 40s. Well, rappers in their 40s, and we break in the 50s. Now rappers are, your hip hop guys are now breaking the 50-yard line. Well, ourselves and Ice-T is like 60s. So it's just that when we break it and we have our breakthroughs, it's not popular.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not popular. I gotta break out 13 minutes. But Evil Empire of Everything was to me and that's had everything on that album, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I remember when I heard both albums sequenced and I heard Evil Empire Everything, I think when it finally got to Everything, it brought a little tear to my eye. And actually everything was made from me and Gary wanted to be able to give an Otis Redding type of feeling. Like I forgot trying to figure out what was the song. I think my daily something prayer. Otis Redding. My love is prayer.
Oh, yeah.
And I said we gotta capture that vibe right there. And capturing that vibe on Everything ended up being one of the most successful records ever for Public Enemy. And C-Doc also did a video that actually took it into the next it was totally surprised me. Took it into the next stratosphere.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite videos I've ever done. Like I can find flaws in most of the videos I've done. Like, blah, what the hell did I do that for? But that one's just
it's perfect song, perfect video. It's
we got it all
I
right.
listened to it today for the first time in a while, and it hits me the exact same way it did the first time I heard it. It's just like it's really, it gets you.
I haven't heard the album in a long time.
Yeah,
I think I will. I will hear them back to back. You know, like I said, Cormega and a beautiful brother, and the fact that Large Professor was on that, and I think Jay Swift was actually DJing on it.
Rob Swift.
Rob Swift, yeah, man. I mean, I think to me, I thought Most of My Heroes Don't Appeal on the Stamp was a lot of contributors giving Public Enemy some flowers in 2012. I know it happened in 2020 in a different way. But I thought 2012 was a great effort. Z Trip,
Brother Ali,
Brother Ali,
yeah.
Get Up, Stand Up.
Yeah.
I think the key in both of those albums, and Doc could attest by this, I think that we got really seriously in one of Public Enemy's best wheelhouses, because Doc was not only sequencing, but Doc was actually covering the visual element. He had really covered the visual element for Public Enemy starting in New World Order in 2004. But he had really gotten into his wheelhouse of knowing exactly what to shoot. People were comfortable around Doc. And so the aspect of sequencing those albums and covering those videos was, to me, one of the best periods of Public Enemy ever.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
We'd really found our groove at that point.
Yeah.
And so,
which led in, right, to me, I thought the efforts of 2012 and 27 and all those areas leading up to that really was the final knock in that campaign of undeniability of Public Enemy Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because we were live, we were present, we were viable, we were just like, I mean, it wasn't old school, it was classic hip hop at its best. Hip hop gods at its best. Here we came up with the moniker of what it meant, and here Public Enemy was making new songs as a classic artist. And I think and then we did the Hip Hop Gods tour, which was a successful thing. And then we encouraged the artists on the Hip Hop Gods tour to make new songs.
Yep. Which is important. It was not only were you guys making your own statements, but the fact that you were also giving a blueprint to your peers to say, hey, we can still we can still do this. That was big.
But that was a theme of the two albums.
Mm-hmm.
Not only were classic artists doing one album, we're going to release two albums this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be from a major.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're going to see it in vinyl, which was really like, people like, what?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, because before it's like, all right, you get vinyl, but, majors are making it and all that. And I think the combination of where we tried to go with Spit Digital, Slam Jams, Rap Station, we tried to get to that point where we were also playing and supporting a lot of those independent labels on the radio show. I mean, and then also labels that seemed like they figured out the distribution, and then you had the avalanche that capsizes the industry going into streaming and downloading from physical product, from CDs into MP3s. I mean, it really kind of F some labels up because, I mean, they didn't know how to really plant, and it was no soil to plant in. So labels that we admired, like Baby Grand. Remember Baby Grand? Flatline?
Yeah, sure.
We were like saying like, yo, man, what happened? And they just got submerged into like a cost thing. Like, okay, we're making these amount, we're shipping it to retail. They all come back in returns. You get 3 or 4 of those coming back, man, and you're kind of like out of business.
Yeah.
And I think for a while they had a momentum, and then they got capsized, but then they came back on the digital and Mellow Music Group.
Right. Mellow is great.
Mellow Music Group came out as a formidable CD delivering label, then the avalanche of MP3 download, and then the streaming, and then they readjusted. Same thing with Rhyme Sayers. Rhyme Sayers had to figure that out,
Yep.
So it was a good period for us to learn from them. And speaking of Rhyme Sayers, when we did Get Up, Stand Up, it's one of my favorite cuts, and we were able to be in Minneapolis at that time and capture Get Up and Stand Up, the film crew at that particular time with me and Brother Ali, and we just got the footage over to Doc, and Doc just was flawless with the video. One of my favorites. What's also threw in something that happened at that time. It was the first and the only annual Skid Row festival.
Oh, right. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so there was a lot of activity in 2012,
That was a
2011,
busy year.
2013.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so those albums were significant of that particular time. And like I said, whether the person liked them or not, the albums were the topic diverse, which I think you can go into those records today and get a piece of the time that's relevant to right now.
Yeah, I think so. Which is, it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I
But
mean,
like, for example, the fact that well, not recently, but 2 years ago, I saw Icebreaker started making a bit of a comeback.
right.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I think another thing, a beautiful thing about that those two records is that CDOC really employs what was formerly known as the Enemy Board participating in the record.
Yeah, that's right. On the interludes. Yeah.
Yeah. And that really seriously sat with people a long time as being a powerful statement in their lives of to say, here's a group that they followed. Now they're participating in it.
Yeah.
And I think we were very thorough on the liner notes of both of those records.
Yes.
The liners are incredible. I was rereading them today. It's just like you break down every track. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very thorough.
Flatline,
you're on the record, aren't you?
Yeah.
I am on the interludes, yeah. And I had forgotten until I listened to it today. I was like, whoa.
I'm gonna listen to it today. The cover was that the cover was the whole key is like make Public Enemy covers, but this one was like, you know what, we're gonna take each one of the participant faces of Public Enemy and put them on the front. Why not?
Kelvin did it, right?
Yes, Kelvin did it and came up with the cutouts and the faces and yeah. I'm looking. Yeah, Run to Its Dark. That's one of my favorite. I mean,
that was fun.
That was fun. That
was
definitely fun.
With DMC, produced by Johnny Juice.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Oh man, and even doing the video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a trip, man. That was a trip. DMC driving us through Hollis and pointing out where he and Run used to write rhymes and stuff, like in the back stoop. It was insane.
Wow.
Crazy.
Davey D was also with us on that
there.
video.
Yep. Davey DMX.
Yeah, man. And I think it concludes at the JMJ mural on 250, which is kind of bittersweet.
Yep. Yeah. What's funny about that video is that Davey, my son Davey, so Davey was like a year old at that point, loved that video and would just watch the shit out of that video. And one night, Mara and I are sitting there watching TV. He's asleep in his crib. He wakes up and starts screaming his head off. And we have no idea why. Something woke him up, bad dream, something. Cannot get this kid calmed down. Like going on for 5 minutes. He's screaming his head off. And I don't remember if it was me or Mara put on the Real Talk video and he instantly shut up, watched the video, and then went back to sleep. It was amazing. And I was like, okay.
That's
there
great.
Hey, man. Look, hey, listen, man. I Shall Not Be Moved. One of my favorite. Gary put his foot in that record.
That record
and the
crazy.
Video once again is like the video with the double me and I'm wearing things. It's like I have things that were in my closet in Roosevelt that my father's London Fog coat.
Yeah.
And flipping the 45 and the mask that was hanging in my crib, the Afro straight from Africa that my parents brought back.
Yep.
Get It In that Flavor brought in by way of Freddie Fox. Bumpy Knuckles.
Right.
Yeah.
Hoover Music, which was definitely a joy doing, and that's Divided Souls. And
Yeah.
Most
Dope
of my
record.
heroes up here, No Stamp, Z-Trip,
Z-Trip.
Catch the Throne, of course, with Large Professor and Rob Swift on the cuts, and Cormega, Real
Yep.
Talk with DMC, Truth Decay, Sam Sever. Fast Food, right? Fast Food was a lot of fun. And
Fast Food was a great concept, man.
yeah, great concept. And
Great
Flavor
concept.
finished it off. We made it happen, And as far as the evil empire of everything, I'm trying to get some titles on that. But I know this title came from me and Harry Allen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got 10 minutes left. I'm trying to make this Panera Bread pickup. But me and Harry Allen were coming from somewhere. This is like 2004 or 5 or something. No, maybe even afterwards, 2006 or something like that. Or it could have been even whatever. And we came up from down like underneath 42nd Street, 47th Street. And we came up the stairs and the whole place was just like lit up, billboards running, cars screeching, just like airplanes hovering all at the same time. And I said, damn, fucking evil empire of everything. And Harry wrote it down on a Post-it note and handed it back to me. And then I didn't get later on that evil empire. I just didn't connect in my head. It wasn't based off of Rage Against the Machine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which had evil empire. But of course, if it's stuck in your head, it's stuck in your head, So
right.
Yeah, man.
You know what? You know when the two titles actually really clicked for me is when we put together the instrumental versions, compilations afterwards, and it was Heroes versus Evil and Evil versus Heroes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that it all works now. It all works.
Yeah, man. Evil was, to me, like I said, that started out with Evil Empire.
Yeah.
And Don't Give Up the Fight, which was fun to do.
Yep.
And then Juice on Peace. I mean,
I love that joint.
Yeah, man. Peace and
crazy.
And Davey DMX did Respect.
Yep.
And then we had Enemy Son. We did Beyond Trayvon. It was Griff did a great job with that, and with UC Doc and everything. Also, I remember Gerald Albright played on that. So I remember one time going out of Santa Barbara, I was with Gerald Albright on the plane. And I think I did something for his record, but he also obliged us playing that saxophone on our record. And Sheila Brody from Brides of Frankenstein sings on the record also at one particular time, a Spit Digital artist, hopefully maybe later on a Spit Slam artist.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Sheila. I haven't talked to her forever.
Hey, I know, but this is the world that we're in. And I was surprised that we put Notice on it, because Notice was a quick thing we did. Just answering like how Kanye had just jumped on Otis Redding track. And
well, it was Notice was Gary and I were out there sequencing the albums, and he's like, hey, we got this Notice joint, you want to remix it with me? And I was like, okay. And we just did it, and after we were done with it, we kind of looked at each other and were like, why don't we just put this on the record? And it's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense, because it's not, it's like, it's almost like an
interlude sort, like an
interlude kind of joint. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And like I said, like Riot started had Henry Rollins' statement from the Memphis 3 at the beginning of it.
Yep.
Morello's on there.
Yep.
And Icebreaker, super incredible posse cut. And
C-Dog, how long did that take to put all together? That's a monster of a track. It's like 7 minutes and 14 seconds, and it just switches up and changes. It's crazy.
Well, I tell you one thing that really was crazy when we brought Sergeant Hartford,
Sergeant
True Mathematics,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, back in the
Yep.
scene, man. And only
Yeah, that
those that know, man.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know what was funny about that song was when Chuck put the call out and said, "Hey, we're working on the record." I was like, I want to make a punk hip hop song. And that was my mindset going into it. It's going to be aggressive and ugly and short. That was the thing. It was going to be like 2 minutes long, get out and be done.
Yeah.
And like kind of just blaze through it. And so I sent the first part of that song is what I sent Chuck originally. And I forget. I think you said, "Hey, we're going to get Griff on it." I was like, "Oh, okay." And you were like, "Hey, how about Sergeant Hawk?" I was like, "Yeah, that's dope. Why not?" And then you're like, and then you call back like a week later. You're like, "Hey, why don't you get the Impossibles on it too?" And I'm like,
Right.
"Oh my God, this song is good." And then it was like, "Oh, call Kyle and get Ice on this." And it was just like, it just ballooned from there. And then I knew it wasn't going to work just being that same track. And so I'm like, well, if I got to throw the kitchen sink at it, let's go. And
it was dope when you brought a Secreto and he that is first in the Espanol. So
yeah,
it really gave it a sort of like, boom, I'm looking right in. And I'm not sure, did Shamello do Fame?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah, I think Shamello did Fame.
Yeah, shout out.
Great.
Rest in
Shout
peace.
out to Shamello. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And Sammy Vegas, Sammy Kim did Broke Diva for Flavor.
Yep.
And I would like to say, like, before I conclude, on the Evil Empire Everything, one of the most fun videos I ever had was when I turned 50 years old, speaking of hip hop gods, and we shot a video for Say It Like It Really Is.
Yeah, that's right. Out of Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls, and that was a lot of fun because it spoke to the thing I used to tell people all the time. It's like, if you don't have a video budget, go to an incredible location.
Yeah.
Go to a historical location. And to me, I thought that I was in the mid-tour. I was in great shape. And I knew that song's lyrics pretty well.
Yeah.
Because we performed it too. So I thought it was a no-brainer performance-wise. And I had a little swagger with me at 50 years old.
Yeah. Yep.
12 years ago. Can you believe that? 12 years ago, I turned 50.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I know.
Yep.
So I conclude this by telling C-Doc, Jenny, and Flatline.
Yeah.
It's on its way to you, Doc.
Yep. I will add it to the digital archive, sir.
Y'all will be surprised when you hear what's on it.
I can't wait, man. Some of the stuff we've unearthed.
And with more to unearth.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, indeed. Thank
Off
you, sir.
To Panera Bread.
Yep.
Safe travels to Panera.
Yep.
Enjoy your bread.
Yes, indeed. Not the bread, just the tuna.
Oh, God. All right, bro.
Flatline, the show will be to you tomorrow. I'm fighting hard against a repeat.
Yeah.
But I think it depends. At the end of the night, there's enough goodies that I have. I might just roll a songs that mean something repeat. But definitely, Tim got me a whole bunch of great joints, and we got to go on King Sun. So that's why I can't have a total repeat. I promise King Sun, he'll get that top slot to introducing the And You Don't Stop radio show tomorrow, and I might just knock out songs that mean something because I have a lot of things to get out of the way.
Yeah. Plus I got on the Spit Slam Jam of the Week.
Oh, right.
DJ Two Tough's new joint, which
that's right,
out tomorrow. So
I can't wait to hear that inside the show contest.
Yeah.
So I'll be working late tonight. Salute, y'all.
Right, bro.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, hello, Jennifer.
Hi. Wow. Let's not do that.
So yeah, Icebreaker was a motherfucker, man. I worked on that song for a long time.
I bet you did.
Wowie.
Yeah.
It's
So
super
much,
complex.
Yeah.
so much for
There's a
your
lot of moving
2-minute.
parts.
Oh, dude, I was like, yeah, had all intent because I did so on these 2 records. I did the interludes. Well, Griff and I did the interludes, but he sent me all the parts that he did and said, go ahead, put them together. So, all right. So we split them half and half, and those were easy. And so on Heroes, I did Run Till It's Dark. So it was only 1 song. And I put a lot into that. I figured that was going to be the busy joint, that had a lot of pieces because Lord has a big part. Kyrie's on it, with the guitar solo.
Yeah.
It was kind of we'll start the album off with a bang and showcase the guys, doing their thing.
Yep.
And I thought Icebreaker was going to be a walk in the park sort of thing, and then it turned into this. Is that how long it is? It's what, 7
minutes and like 14 seconds or something.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah.
It's really incredible. I think for me, it's one of your best, and I just forgotten because I hadn't listened to it in so long, but I think it's one of your best that you've done in terms of like your epic productions that
thank you.
Yeah.
I remember being really proud of it, and happy with it. It's talk about the additional vocal C-Doc. Reggie Reg in the house. Talk about Enemy Board. What's up, Reg?
Oh yeah.
So regarding Run Till It's Dark, does it have a Wild Stallions sample? I swear I hear a Bill and Ted yelling there. No, it does not. I don't know. I don't know what's in there, honestly.
Bill and Ted.
Oh God, it's been so long, but yeah. No, but Icebreaker was it was just one of those things where Chuck kept throwing ideas at the wall, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I'm not gonna say no. It's like, hey, get the Impossibles on it. No, Chuck, I'm not gonna.
Right.
Come on,
Can't make me.
Yeah, right, exactly. But these 2 records, if I recall correctly, I think Chuck had kind of mapped out most of where each songs went, because we did all these songs together, and it was like, okay, well these are going to go here on this record, and then these will go on the other record, and then it was up to Gary and I to figure out how they were going to work. And what also I thought was interesting was, I thought this was the more accessible album of the 2. Like this was the pretty album and this was the ugly album, but it was funny when the reviews came out. I know this doesn't mean shit, but when the reviews came out, everybody liked this record better. So, which I did not expect. I did not expect that at all. So I always thought that was interesting, it doesn't mean shit.
I agree that this is more accessible for sure.
Yeah.
So that is very interesting.
Yeah. But
I don't know. They're both great. I mean, I remember at the time that Chuck was saying that the 2 albums like speak to one another. It was something along those lines, and it makes sense. I mean, yeah. I listened to him back to back today, and I was like, wow, yeah, it's a great body of work.
Yeah, it was like I had said earlier, that was something he had wanted to do for a while. Originally, New World Order and How You Sell Soul to a Soulless People Who Sold Their Soul. That's what that was supposed to be. Because here's some other trivia.
Yeah.
The song I did for New World Order, which is Superman's Black in the Building, was originally supposed to be on the Soul album.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
I like it on New World Order.
Well, the Soul album at that point was a very different record.
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't going to be what it ended up as.
Are there 2 years in between those albums?
Yeah,
Is it, it's something like that though, isn't it?
yeah,
They're pretty close together, but not like a year apart.
yeah. 2 years. New World Order was 05 and Soul was 07.
Okay.
And then Beats and Places was in between.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because that was kind of...
God, and you were doing videos for that too.
Yeah. We did a lot of videos back in the day, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Holy crap.
Yep. We did a lot of videos.
Yeah.
Reg, still waiting on the... Reg, I don't even remember what we were supposed to do with that. I know we had an idea. And you know what's funny too is I've got the stems now, Reg. So I actually could do that remix. I just can't remember what the hell we were going to do. So there you go. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Superman was another. That's the longest.
That is the longest.
It's the longest PE song. I will proudly wear that.
Yeah. Incredible track.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, Jen, sorry to spring the show on you. It was a last minute idea.
Surprise.
Sure. Yeah. Hi. I was like, what? What's going on?
I was gonna text you, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna bother her. She's probably not even gonna know. Yeah. And then you showed up in the chat like, what the fuck?
Stupid thing showed up on my phone, and I'm like, what the hell? Okay. Not like I have to be here, but
no, it's always nice to have you. I didn't want to interrupt your evening, whatever you might have been doing. So, you know,
it's not even my evening. It's only 5:30.
Oh, right. I always forget. West Side.
West Side. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there she goes again. Yeah. Throwing up the dubs.
Throwing up the dubs. But yeah,
I can do this with my toes too, right?
You can?
You know, little side. I can, but that's a little sidebar. Whatever. TMI.
Yes. Okay.
Can't even picture it.
What surprised you the most listening back to these today? Flatline.
Oh, well, I mean,
aside from hearing yourself on the record,
I mean that was a big surprise because I truly had forgotten that. I was like, oh, yep, that's me. I did that. I forgot that Flav rhymed on "Get It In."
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty great.
Third verse?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it was just kind of nice to revisit them because it had been a while in terms of like listening to them from front to back.
Yeah.
And they hold up really, really well.
I'm going to have to do the same because I haven't heard them in so long.
Oh, and forgot that Davey DMX produced
Respect.
Yes. Yep.
Which is great. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of both of those records is how Juice's piece goes into Davey's Respect.
Yes. Yes. And was that your call or was that I wondered about that when Chuck brought that up?
No, Chuck was like that was his idea. Like they're because here's another thing for a little bit of goofy trivia. The streaming back in the day, so we had sequenced these records that, you know, so that the songs ran into one another.
Mm-hmm.
And we got something back from iTunes. They were like, yeah, for the iTunes version, all the songs have to be separated because of like, remember, like there was a setting or something where it would blend songs together.
Yes. Yep.
It was so dumb. And we're like, wow, really? We have to do that? That's like a thing. So if you have the old digital versions of those albums, all the songs are separated except for those two, because we're like, well, we're making an exception here because these two songs are supposed to go together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the the preferred version is the wax and the CDs, because that's how they're sequenced the way we intended them, with the songs running together and the interludes. And
I was curious. It's a question that's popped into my head now, but why are there's some tracks that are edited, but then there's another track that I listen to and it's like edited, but then Chuck's all,
I have no idea.
Fuck him or whatever he's saying. Like over and over again. Oh, what? It's what the
yes.
Yeah.
So I Shall Not Be Moved is edited.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything else is edited on the record. Maybe.
WTF? I swear it's edited. I would need to listen to it again, but I thought it was odd because there's, I don't know.
Right.
Sounds funny.
Yeah. Well, so, and here's another little piece of trivia. We were gonna do an on-demand CD single, maxi single, or we were gonna do a couple, I think.
For I Shall Not Be Moved.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I remember
so
something about that.
Yeah, so it was going to have the unedited I Shall Not Be Moved.
Yeah.
And there was also an alternate, not a remix, but an alternate mix of Get It In that was going to be put on that too. It was just slightly different. It was actually Bumpy's original mix that he submitted, and then Flav asked him to change something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So, I forget what else. There was something else. I'll have to look it up and see what else we were going to put on there. I had artwork for it and everything. It was ready to go, and it just never happened. Yep. But there you go.
There it is.
And yes, Kevin, you can get the unedited version of I Shall Not Be Moved on Planet Earth, and it was also on the Hip Hop Gods tour soundtrack.
Right.
If anybody ever got that.
And they should have, because there was some new stuff by X-Clan and Moni Love and I want to say Schoolie D.
I think so.
Yeah.
And
there was other stuff too.
Everybody in their
Son of Berserk.
Maybe a Son of Berserk track. Yeah. It's been a while since I've listened to it.
Yeah, on the verge of an ass whooping, maybe.
Kevin.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
What, Jen?
Yeah.
Kevin says, don't do that foot stuff for free on YouTube. I hear foot videos can rake in the money online.
There you go, Jen.
Like I ever offered? I don't recall offering.
There you go. There's some
right. I'll get an
your only page. Yeah, your OnlyFans.
Oh, Mike Miller wants to hear some DJ Muggs and Chuck collab.
That would be dope.
Chuck did jump on a DJ Muggs track called Wicked when Muggs was doing his dubstep stuff.
Right. That's right.
And I actually like that album a lot. Called Bass for Your Face. It didn't do very well, I don't think. And it was just too different. People weren't really like...
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Rock Marciano's on it. Someone else.
That was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was also like 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can look it up. I still listen to it on a regular basis.
Wow. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was just this whole episode just came up because I realized this album turned 10 yesterday.
Yeah. And why not?
Yeah. And I can't believe it's been that long.
It's pretty crazy because it does feel like yesterday for me as well, because I was kind of in the mix in terms of like promoting and getting the word out about it. So yeah.
Sure.
Pretty nuts.
And this was a this all started with the Celeban thing.
Yes, it did. It did start with the Celeban thing. That's right, which I'd also forgotten about. That's the other thing that I forgot about. Yeah, so they got funded, and this is the result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. These two records.
Yeah.
Because I think originally it was just going to be one record for the Celeband.
Oh.
And then Chuck was like, "Yeah, let's just do two." I think it was at that point he was like, we were able to do two in 1 year, because I know he wanted to do that for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it was kind of cool, man. Interesting times.
Coffee talk.
There you go.
Chat amongst yourselves.
All right.
Say what?
So guess what I'm about to have?
I'm out.
Oh. All right,
Yeah.
Jennifer. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up anyway.
All
right.
Thanks for joining us, Jenny. See you Tuesday.
See ya. Bye. Yep. Absolutely.
I'm scared to try it.
Yeah, and Flatline. We
Yes,
will
sir.
be back Tuesday with. Oh, you're not gonna be here. It's your birthday.
It'll be my birthday on Tuesday, so I won't be there. But
Word up.
you're gonna have
DJ Too Tough.
Yes, you are. Yeah, and you sent me the album, and I haven't listened to it yet, so
It's all right.
I'm going to tonight.
You're a busy man.
We do have some things going on.
Hey, Reg, thanks for dropping by. Good to see you here, man. Michael, Vashon, what up? In the house. Everybody else, Mike Miller, thanks for stopping by. Thank you, guys. We'll be back Tuesday with DJ Too Tough, whose new album, Behold the Detonator, drops technically tonight at midnight, but tomorrow on Spit Slam, the Spit Slam record label group. So check that out, especially if you guys like DJ records, all that cutting and scratching bullshucks. Because man, it's crazy. It's a dope record, and I hope you guys dig it. But I am not ready to end the show, so I better get ready to end the show. If the computer will cooperate. All right,
computer.
Yep. We'll see everybody Tuesday. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
It's C-Doc again.